So under the CBC system in Kenya, schools are classified into four categories. In the old Kenyan education system called 844, there used to be national schools. Now the national schools are classified under C1 category. And the C1 category schools admit students that score between 61 to 72 points in the grade 9 national examinations. So the grade 9 grading system has got exceeding expectation 1, exceeding expectation 2, meeting expectation 1, meeting expectation 2, approaching expectation 1, approaching expectation 2, below expectation 1, below expectation 2. Now, we have discussed this in a separate video, but then briefly, if assuming your student, because they are doing 9 subjects, assuming your student or your son scores exceeding expectation 1 in all the 9 subjects, that is 8 points times 9 subjects. That gives you 72 points. So that student will get a chance straight away in the C1 schools. So if at all they get, say, 5 exceeding expectations, and then the remaining 4 are exceeding expectations 2, so then they will have 68 points. That is 8 times 5, and then this one is 7 times 4. So that will be 68 points. So they will again be admitted in C1 schools. But then there are those schools in the old 844 Kenyan system that were called extra county schools, because they have infrastructure that is close to national schools. So those ones are now classified as C2 schools. And they admit students that have between 41 points to 60 points. So the extra county schools in the old 844 Kenyan system, now called the C2 schools, admit students between 41 to 60 points. So assuming that your son or your daughter gets meeting expectation 2 in all the 9 subjects in the grade 9 national exam, that is 5 times 9. That gives you 45. So that particular child will be admitted to a C2 school because they have 45 points which fall between the range of 41 to 60. And then in the old 844 Kenyan education system, there were county schools. So county and extra county are at the county level, which is the lower governance level in Kenya after the national government. But the county schools are inferior to extra county because of their infrastructural facilities and other aspects that are used in classification of schools by the Ministry of Education in Kenya. So those ones are classified under C3. So C3 schools admit students that are between 21 to 40 points. So here, assuming your son or your daughter scores approaching expectation 2 in all the 9 subjects, that will be 3 points times 9, 27. So 27 falls between the range of 21 to 40 points. And therefore, that particular child will be admitted in a C3 school. The last category is C4 school. And now C4 schools is what in the old Kenyan 844 education system were called sub-county schools. Most of them are day schools. These ones admit students that are between 1 point to 20 points. So for instance, assuming that your son or daughter scores below expectation 1, which is 2 points in all the 9 subjects, so that will be 2 points times 9, which gives you 18. And 18 falls between the range of 1 to 20. Therefore, that child will be admitted in a C4 school, formerly known as sub-county schools. So most of these are day schools. And then you have national schools, which majority are boarding schools, now called C1. Then the C2 and C3 are a mixture mostly, ratio about 50 or 60 to 40 or 50 to 50. 60 being pure boarding, and then the remaining 40 being mixture of either boarding and day or pure day schools. So, when you watch a separate video on grading system in the Kenyan CBC system at grade 9, then you will understand more about this approaching expectations, exceeding expectations. We have that video in this channel also. So basically, this is what your son or your daughter needs to know as they progress from grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, heading to senior schools, on how they are finally going to be placed in the schools. And therefore, their performance should be tracked based on this points range, so that they finally know the possibility of them either getting into a C1, a C2, a C3, or a C4 school. Thank you.